Today's question is, fellow teachers of Reddit, what experiences have you had with dumb parents?
I substituted in a HS for 5 months to finish off the year for a teacher who was on maternity leave. So I had a student, high school senior, who never did any homework, accounted for 35% of the total grade. I would constantly send emails to the parents, who always responded that they'd deal with it, spoke with the parents at conferences, and kept the admin in the loop. 1 week before finals, I send the notice home that she needed to get a 97% on the final to pass the class and get the credits she needed for graduation, and I even gave her one more chance to turn in past homework for 50% credit. FF to the final, she barely gets a passing grade and therefore can't get the credits, can't graduate, can't enlist in the Air Force like she had intended. The parents come into the office of the school screaming at everyone that they had no clue it would come to this. When we all sat down in an office with the guidance counselor, principal, department head, and myself, I reviewed the several notices with them, explained that she had multiple opportunities to gain credit, etc., but refused to do anything. Turns out the wife was hiding the emails and information from her husband and wanted her daughter to fail so she wouldn't join the Air Force and move away from home. Last I heard from the situation, they're not together. The daughter is working at Lowe's, never finished HS, and has 2 kids and multiple arrests for selling drugs. There's a reason I didn't want to pursue teaching as a career after that. Just before Christmas break, I had the student's hand in a paper. One of the students was missing a page, so I pulled out the contact sheet that I had the students fill out at the beginning of the year and gave a call. The student's father picked up the line, said, "Thanks for calling. We will definitely get that extra page into you." The next day, the student's mother comes storming into the classroom. She happens to be an education assistant at the school. She demands to know where I got that number. I said that her son had put it on the contact sheet. Apparently, the parents are separated. She proceeded to tell me that I had no right to call that number, and that when there is a problem with their son, only SG has the right to know. I told her, "Thanks, that's good to know." That's when she dropped this bombshell. If he hands something in that is incomplete, you fail him. You got that? Fail. Then she walked out of the classroom. This coming from a person who is supposed to help children succeed. I wouldn't call them dumb parents, but parents who are in denial about who their child actually is break my heart. For instance, we had a student who had an abundance of markers for autism and was in 6th grade. All the teachers on the students' team agreed they ought to tell the parents their concerns and suggest the student be tested so we could offer more resources for the student. The teacher who spoke with them was very polite, very kind in suggesting they try and figure out how best to help the student, and the mom literally screamed at her that nothing was wrong with her child and that she would never get the student tested. Her husband even tried to tell her that it wasn't a bad thing, and that they should try and see if it would help since his teachers who knew him thought it might. The mom started cussing out the teacher and stormed out. Taught college, so my story is nice. Had a student failing horrible, -10%, but would not drop. Whatever, not my dime, not my problem. Anyway, grades come in, and, I guess, his mother has his password to his account, or perhaps he just told her his grade, F, obviously, and I get an angry email insisting that there's no way he could have failed pre-calculus, because my God. His father is an engineer, and the student wants to be an engineer, and he just has to be good at math. The best part is, when you turn 18 and go to college, you're treated as an adult, even if you don't act like one. And there's a little box you can check that says, "Allow my parents to see my records." Most kids don't check it, and by law, I am not allowed to release any records to anyone, even parents. So I politely informed her that her son is considered an adult, and I was not allowed to release any records, and that she would have to contact him. Of course, this prompted a long, "I'm going to get you fired" email that I forwarded to my dean, who came to my office for a long laugh. I actually feel pretty bad for the kid. Having a helicopter mom like that at that age will do him no favors. My mother is a K-12 teacher for a charter school that does homeschooling, with the teacher checking in and reviewing things about once a week. It's meant for students who have difficulty in the public school system, which can range from dropouts to super smart kids to non-English speakers, and parents who don't have the time to do full homeschool. I used to help with grading the math and science stuff, so I have tons of stories. One parent during the school year kept taking her daughter on trips to different countries and then asking my mother to extend her work. We're talking about 5 or 6 trips during the year. That would be fine if it was laid out at the start of the school year and they could schedule accordingly. But this parent would make these trips spontaneously. Like, in a few days, we're going to Russia. So she can't meet you next week like we scheduled 2 days ago. Another parent really pissed off my mother. 2 kids, brothers, both seniors almost done with high school. All that was left was some sort of state testing done in a classroom. One brother shows up, the other isn't there. My mom proctor for the exam, asks where his brother is. He replies he didn't feel like coming. She tells him that this is all he needs to graduate, so text him and get him to come here. He doesn't show. Halfway through the test, the kid's mother storms in the door, yelling at my own mother, telling her off for making her son feel ashamed and humiliated. She flips the table over, no joke, grabs her son that's there, who looked like he wanted to die. Keep in mind, he's a senior, like 17 years old or so, and storms out the door. Both brothers failed to get their HS degree, as neither had completed the state test. The crazy mom then writes a scathing email to my mother's supervisor, talking about how she had been lying to her, disregarding her problems and her children's education, and attempting to sabotage their chance at graduation. I have more, may post them up later if anyone is interested. Oh lordy, where to start? I teach 11th grade. Sat in an IEP, special ed, meeting. The parents wanted all of these accommodations for the student even though we kept bringing up his daily weed habit. The accommodations still got on the plan with a promise from him to cut back. Parents asking us how to parent their child. He gets upset when I take his Xbox. A kid kept forgetting his backpack. I asked him if he had his cell phone or shoes. Obviously he did. So I told him to put those items in his backpack when he gets home. His mom thought I was a genius. One parent was exasperated that their child with ADHD wasn't doing college-level work. 2 minutes into a phone conference with a mom, she compared her son with her other kids and lamented that her son wasn't as good at school as they were. This is the saddest. I have a deaf student. On parent-teacher night, the student's parents come to my class with her. I quickly deduced that the mom and the dad do not know sign language. We talked about her progress and her wanting to go into medicine. I had to convince the dad she was capable. He kept talking her down and demanding she speak. This is a majority of my parent interactions. I would say 1/3 are normal but yield no change. My mom teaches early childhood education, basically 5 to 6-year-olds. One of them had major signs of autism. My mom said it seemed like it, and after reading several books on the subject, I thought so too. This also helped spawn my idea for an autism-friendly restaurant, but we'll talk about that later. Primarily, he had the basic signs such as a lack of imagination, social skills, and he never ate anything other than a PB&J sandwich. He would scream if offered otherwise. He also always had to be on a schedule. Since I walked to that school from my school, I always played with him. We would go to the unused library and play piano. I taught him to play songs like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. He loved it. He would tell me he loved piano. We decided to let his parents know. They denied it all. So my mom decided to bring the school in, had him observed. Sure enough, the psychologist agreed with us. He is in 1st grade now. It's my most heartwarming memory I have. I saw him at Walmart. He took me to the toy section, found one of those demo pianos, and played Mary Had a Little Lamb. His parents bought him a toy piano and showed him how to read the music. He is getting treatment now. I'm crying while writing this. I miss you, little bro. As for my idea, it'd just be a colorful restaurant. Simple food, friendly people, same waitresses, etc. Tilder taught autistic kid to play piano and excels ahead of his class. May skip a grade. And this is the end of today's video. I hope you liked it, and don't forget to comment an anecdote or experience similar to the topic of the video leave your like, share if you liked the video, and lastly, don't forget to activate the little bell so you don't miss any of our daily videos. Bye-bye.